One, there is no replacement for paying attention. In other words, if you pay attention to things, you start to see stories and characters in your own life. I mean, if you think, for example, of maybe you could do this with like a friend, and if you had to describe your, let's say, best friend to somebody, you would basically come up with a list of character traits. And your best friend could be a character. And you might change it around a little to make a character. So you really have to pay attention to what's going on in your own life, and then see what's going on in other people's lives, too. Most writers are very good listeners. They have to listen for stories and listen when people are telling stories. The other thing, I've mentioned it before, is reading is so important. I've met lots of writers. They're all readers. They're all big readers. In fact, last year about this time, I had dinner with, what's his name? He just won the Newbery Award. Huge reader. Valerie Tripp is a huge reader. She's in like 2 book groups. She reads every day for a couple of hours. So reading is a big thing. The other thing I would really encourage you to do is get in the habit of writing ideas down. And that's where I like notebooks. It's real simple. And, before you start a story, don't just sit down and, I'm going to write. Sit down and think, what am I going to talk about in this? And then you make up a list of some of the things you're going to talk about, whether it's a story, whether it's a letter, whether it's a homework assignment, and then just come up with your list, and then you can start to say, I'll talk about this thing first, and then I'll skip down there, and then you have like a little bit of a plan. I do that. I've written more than 700 columns for the Washington Post, and I always start with a list. I never sit down at the computer and just start typing up. No way I could do that. But so many people try to do that, and that's why they get frustrated. I hope that answers the question.
Did it answer the question, boys and girls? Yeah. Is that helpful advice? I think that's really good advice. All right, we have a few more questions for you if you have time. The kids want to know some things about you.
Oh, sure.
All right,
sure.
Katie Smith and Jack.
I should ask them questions of the kids.
That'd be great. We would love that. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Katie Smith. And what inspired you to play so many different sports beside your siblings?
Well, it inspired me to play sports. Yeah, well, when I was growing up, I was in a big family. There were 7 kids in my family, and I was number 6. And so I had a lot of older brothers. I had 4 older brothers, and they liked sports, and so I had to sort of play sports with them. And so I used to play baseball in the backyard. I used to play basketball. I played touch football. I remember as a kid playing hockey. We used to make nets out of the snow. In other words, if you get a big snow, you dig like sort of a net into the snow, and you'd shoot tennis balls into what was the net, but it was really a big pile of snow. We played badminton, we played tennis, we went to the beach, we did lots of different things. And so it wasn't so much that I was inspired as it was just something that we all did. And one of the things you have to remember is I'm a little older than you guys. When I was growing up, we had television, but we had 3 channels. We had no computers. We had no video games. There was not as many distractions where kids just sit down and they have toys to play with. We had to make up our own games. And that was great. We loved it. And I think we were really lucky not to have a lot of those. things because we learned how to make up our own fun. And we've had a lot of it. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Drew?